Hey, folks, today's Monday, April 13th, 2026. Coming up, a Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. I am here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, for the 30th anniversary of the Monday after the Masters Hoogan the Blowfish Golf Tournament. We're so glad to be here. I'll tell you more about that in just a moment. Donald Trump continues to insult Pope Leo. We'll talk to Chicago pastor Father Michael Pfleger about this. Also, Trump puts out this meme showing him essentially as Jesus. Wait till you hear the stupid explanation that he described after he deleted that particular post. A viral moment from Toledo where a police officer is attacking a teen, violently arresting a black girl there. The community folks there are demanding action from the city. Also, the African American Mayors Association has a new leader, is Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott. We'll talk to him on the show. It is time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the biz, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Folks, the Chicago-born leader of the Catholic Church, Pope Leo, has been rankling Donald Trump. Trump is really upset because Pope Leo has been criticizing the war in Iran and also attacks against Venezuela. In this long Truth Social post, which was totally unhinged, Donald Trump called the Pope weak and all sorts of other names. No need for me to waste my time reading that. He's upset because, again, the Pope is using his moral credibility to speak truth to power. I want to speak to right now Pastor Michael Pfleger from Chicago, St. Sabina Catholic Church there. Always glad to have you here. Sorry for the technical difficulties while we were late, but it was out of our control, Father Pfleger. Frankly, right. I love this. And here's what I find to be interesting. Republicans love the Catholic Church on the issue of abortion, but they don't like Catholic Church when it comes to the death penalty and them calling out the war. So I'm so like, so we have situational acceptance of Catholics.
Yeah, cafeteria style Catholics. They'll pick what they want when they like it. I think it's very interesting. I think unfortunately, I think the president has underestimated this Southside Creole Pope, who's also a Sox fan. So he has tenacity and endurance to hold on if he's a Sox fan. So I think he expects what he always gets. What bullies expect people to bow down and shut up and be quiet and submit. And that's not going to happen with this guy.
Absolutely. And again, the Pope is a moral leader. Donald Trump, we know, is immoral. He has no morals, no values, no ethics, no principles, none of that. And in fact, I'm going to talk a little bit later, when he puts out this image based as him as Jesus, and then the right, a lot of evangelical Christians are slamming him for it. Then all of a sudden he deletes it. His explanation, I thought that was me as a doctor in the Red Cross. No, these evangelical people should now realize this dude is not a Christian. He doesn't care about Christianity. He only sucked up to them to get their votes, and they were stupid enough to give it to him.
Absolutely. And I think what's so great about this, Roland, is the fact that he is not coming out as a politician or a political statements. He's coming based on the scriptures. Matthew 5, blessed are the peacemakers. He's standing up for the scriptures, which is so great because Paula White and these out of control, hysterical wannabes have been trying to use the scripture to justify all the stuff he's doing. They want Jesus to be some ramble person that is violent and goes out and bullies people and threatens people. They've hijacked the scriptures and try to use it for their own way. And the Pope's simply saying, no, let me give you the real scriptures, not that stuff that these crazy white evangelicals and the Paula Whites that are that have been hijacking Christianity for their own purpose, and so that they can pimp themselves and become something with Donald Trump. So I think the beauty of it is that, number one, you're right, they love the Catholics on abortion, and now all of a sudden he said, but we're not just a one-focused church. And Jesus wasn't a one-focused person. So let's talk about war. Let's talk about deportation. Let's talk about racism. Let's talk about all the Bible does talk about. And he throws it right back at him, and now Trump can't fall. But I think he really showed his hand, though, when he was talking on the plane, and Trump said, I don't like a pope who criticizes the president. And that's the key issue. This idiot likes nobody that criticizes him. And so now he stepped in the arena and he said, okay, I'm going to take on the Pope, because nobody criticizes Donald Trump. But I think what he also doesn't underestimate is that we're not talking about America now. Remember, Trump has a huge, huge problem with the EU. And there's all these countries that have been standing up to him, but also you've got France, Spain, Ireland, Germany. You have this huge Catholic following over there that is now standing up and going to support their leaders and saying, you better stand up to this man. Now he's attacking our Pope.
And what they also can't stand is that it has been Catholic priests that have been standing in the gap when it comes to the issue of immigration, showing up at hearings with their parishioners and others. And that's also what's making the right go crazy.
You know, they cannot stand the church suddenly, like I said this morning to somebody, the sleeping giant is getting now. And when you get the moral conscious voice that the faith communities have always supposed to be, but have been very quiet for many, many years, and not spoken up, particularly in leadership like the Pope. But when you all of a sudden get this sleeping giant to wake up and say, okay, now we are going to speak up and be a moral voice. We're going to accompany people in deportation. We're going to speak about children that are being bombed. We're going to speak about racism and hunger and the inequality and the evilness of war. Now we're going to speak about this. They're going, man, wait a minute. That's not what you're supposed to do. Just go to church. Stay in your place. Well, I think it's not only the Pope speaking about. I was on a couple of conference calls today, and I was the only Catholic on the call. And I'm telling you, pastors and other bishops of other faiths are standing up saying it's time for us to get much more vocal, to get much more loud, to get much more aggressive. And we're going to make sure the Pope doesn't feel like he's out there by himself.
And last question for you, and it's simple. To your point, this is the moment for moral leadership. And the reality is, I think that people of faith have allowed these crazy, deranged, right-wing, white conservative evangelicals to dominate the conversation. Even when I was at CNN, I would often tell executives, why do y'all keep booking these right-wing folks who are Christians, but you don't book other voices that disagree with them? And so they've had a chokehold on this, and this is also calling them out and challenging them where they are, and also putting into place people like Franklin Graham, by the way, who is not a pastor. A lot of people don't realize that Franklin Graham is not ordained. And so he's been walking around proclaiming these various things, and he's really been walking in with the cloak of his daddy, and he ain't his daddy, because everybody know the real preacher in that family is his sister, Ann Lutz, but she's a woman, and that's why she's not running the family business.
Right. Absolutely. So here we are now with the Franklin Grahams and the Paula Whites and the whole group of just crazy people. I mean, they're really just crazy, crazy people, but they're really hustlers. I mean, they've been hustling this guy for their own names and for their own profiles, and he's hustled them to support him and to back him. But now all of a sudden, the fake faith that they have been given the voice to and the narrative to, you could say the media puts these people out there all the time, quoting these people all the time. They're fake preachers. And so I think now that that other voices, like the Pope and like some of these bishops that were on 60 Minutes last night, some of the others are speaking out, all of a sudden, it's going to be a different game out here. It's a different style of faith being leadership out here right now, and I think it's time for the moral voice. They only became so famous not because media was all giving them highlighting, but also the church has been quiet and other faith communities have been quiet. But guess what?
Yep.
I think that day is over. I think there's about to be the lion is roaring, and remember, Leo is lion.
Absolutely, and I love it. He is not backing down from the bully. Father Michael Pfleger, always great to have you on the show. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, my brother. Much love.
Take care. Appreciate it. I want to bring in my panel, Renita Shannon, former Georgia State Representative, joining us out of Atlanta, Dr. Ome Congo Dibinga Sr., professorial lecturer, School of International Service from American University, co-author of Lies About Black People, How to Combat Racism. Also, Thelma Anderson, creator of the Public Opinion Court and author of Shut Up and Prosecute, joining us out of Dallas. I think this is wonderful what we are seeing. And again, people are seeing Donald Trump for exactly who he is. Y'all put up that graphic. This was the meme that Donald Trump posted, where he really trying to portray himself as Jesus. Now, remember, he put up these other memes where he was portraying himself as the Pope. This is when they were selecting a new Pope. Here he is. He put this up. And listen, the right-wing folks went after him. There were people who were on social media demanding he take this down, saying this was absolutely sacrilegious and ripping him to shreds. And after several hours, he eventually takes it down. But then the fool was talking to the media and admitted he posted it himself. But listen to his explanation, Renita, as to what he thought it was.
Mr. President, did you post that picture of yourself depicted as Jesus Christ?
Well, it wasn't depicted. It was me. I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor, and had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which we support. And only the fake news could come up with that one. So I just heard about it, and I said, how did they come up with that? It's supposed to be me as a doctor making people better, and I do make people better. I make people a lot better. As an example, the 11,000, I understand your husband's going through treatment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He's going through some very serious cancer treatment, so
yes, sir.
This goes a long way.
Yes, sir, it sure does.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Renita, that shows you how stupid he is. And I saw Eric Erickson, right-wing conservative, who said, I hope people now realize this guy's not a believer.
Right. Well, people should have already known that. And also, he's a very bad liar, because no part of me believes that he actually thought that this was representing himself as a doctor. We have seen pictures like this of Jesus Christ laying hands on folks to heal them. And that's what Trump wanted to kind of get across, was that he had the same power. So I guarantee you, had there not been outrage, he would have gone along with this and would have enjoyed it and would have never said, hey, this picture is a mistake. It was supposed to be me as a doctor. What I can't figure out is why his supporters are upset. They have constantly compared him to Jesus. They treat him like Jesus. They don't hold him accountable for anything. Anything that he does, they treat him like he's completely infallible. Even when he goes by the do as I say, not as I do, they have completely treated him like Jesus. And he has even said that he is on some sort of mission. And that's why they had to elect him to be president, for him to come and get all of the pedophiles out of high places in office. And now all we see is he's just the pedophile. So I don't even know why they're upset, because basically he has now put in form a picture that represents exactly how they treat him.
And the reality is this here, Ome Congo, they've always treated him like a little G God. So that's why he behaves this way. So, yeah, I don't know why they're upset. This is how they've always treated him.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they make him look like a superhero comic book figure, super built like he's Superman. Like you said, he's portrayed himself as the Pope before. And a lot of these memes that he puts out, they come from other people. And so they continue to have the mindset of this is just Trump being Trump. And now it's really hitting them in the face. But they also say Trump always chickens out. So when he gets real backlash, he tends to back down. They put somebody in there who they see as a messiah. They put somebody in there who they feel is going to save the world. And really, at the end of the day, this is a man who has to be the center of attention. Whatever it is, and whatever it takes to do it, he will do it. That's why he put out a post like this. That's why he put out that profanity laced post on Easter Sunday, because, you know, that's a day for Jesus. He had to put it out on that morning. When the space shuttle launched, he had to have a press conference that night on Iran. This is what he always does. He can't let J.D. Vance be the center out there doing the negotiations. He has to be the center, and this is dangerous for the country. His ego is out of control, and we know that the ego is a source of downfall for so many. And for these guys who are saying that, oh my gosh, you know, they're upset and everything and he took it down, they are going to say a day later, oh, he was just joking. We know that's just how the president acts, because they can't say a lot of what they want to say publicly. So we're going to see more of things like this. Obviously, you can't get more sacrilegious than what he did as it relates to Jesus, but he's going to do more things like this because he has to be the center of attention, and he's doing at the expense of the country. And lastly, to sell out the woman who was next to him by talking about her husband's treatment, he's done that multiple times too.
I love, Thelma, how these two stories converge on the same day. His attacks on Pope Leo, and then portraying himself as Jesus, which we all know is also a lie, because Jesus was not a white man, especially when this orange fool is trying to show himself. And it also exposes the sheer stupidity of people on the right. It exposes how they have allowed this fool to be a fake. That when they have those so-called faith leaders at the White House, they look like idiots being there. Paula White talking about comparing him to Jesus. These people are frauds. They are grifters. He is the grifter in chief, and he should be called out, because, again, this man he absolutely has no morals, no convictions, no nothing. And who can forget the clip when they said, "So, what's your favorite Bible verse or chapter?" Well, I like all of them. New Testament, Old Testament. I mean, he had no idea. And then, of course, when he said 2 Corinthians, when he was speaking at Liberty University, it goes to show you, he is a fraud. He is not a Christian. This man is insane.
Listen, Donald Trump is not only jealous of the Pope because the Pope is closer to getting to heaven than he will ever be, but he's also jealous of Jesus because people's love and affection for Jesus' sacrifice. So when I look at Donald Trump and that stupid ass picture that he wanted us to buy into, because if you pay attention to them long enough, they test the waters. They put stuff out to see what kind of reaction it's going to get, and then they're going to respond based off of the reaction. When he did not get the reaction and the praises that he felt like he deserved, now he want to backtrack and say, oh, I thought I was a doctor. No, that picture should have had you laying in a bed and a doctor over you, because you are the one that really needs a doctor. You are not fit to, one, be a leader, let alone sit up here and disrespect the Pope, disrespect Jesus, disrespect this country. And I sit back, I'm like, y'all voted for this. That man told y'all on Air Force One that he know he going to hell. So why y'all keep trying to clean up his slate as if he's going to be anything other than what he's already told us he is? Y'all put him in that position so that y'all can cover up the disgusting crimes that y'all have committed, so it would never come to the front, but it's coming to the front because y'all put that man in that place, and God is showing y'all exactly what you do when you play in his face. Now we get to see, and everybody is getting exposed, and I'm glad about that. But at the end of the day, this man keeps playing with not only Jesus, but God. And it's his people that put him in that position. Now y'all want to bring him back. Nope, y'all shouldn't have ever put him there in the first place.
Well, again, he attacked Pope Leo, and I love how Pope Leo, like, oh, you want this smoke? I'm returning it back to you. Watch this.
I basically said that the message of the church, my message, the message of the gospel, blessed are the peacemakers. I do not look at my role as being political or politician. don't want to get into a debate with him. I don't think that the message of the gospel is meant to be abused in the way that some people are doing. And I will continue to speak out loudly against war, looking to promote peace, promoting dialogue and multilateral relationships among the states to look for just solutions to problems. Too many people are suffering in the world today. Too many innocent people are being killed. And I think someone has to stand up and say, there's a better way to do this. I have no fear, neither the Trump administration nor speaking out loudly about the message of the gospel. And that's what I believe I am called to do, what the church is called to do. If we're not politicians, we're not looking to make foreign policy, as he calls it, with the same perspective that he might understand it. But I do believe that the message of the gospel, blessed are the peacemakers, is a message that the world needs to hear today.
As Pope Leo saying, man, I ain't scared of you. Y'all, if there was a non-verbal way for Pope Leo, this is what he went. He went,
Yeah.
come on,
Yeah.
bring it, bring it. That's what I love. I love that response. And he didn't do it in Italian. He didn't do it in French. He didn't do it in any other language. He did it in his native tongue, English, so everybody can hear exactly what he had to say. All right, y'all, I got to go to a break. We'll be right back. Roland Martin on Filtered on the Black Star Network.
Why does it feel like we're going backward? Voting rights under attack, schools stripped of funding, Black history erased. This is the Trump MAGA agenda. They want to take us back. They are redrawing congressional lines in states across the country, deciding who gets power and who gets silenced. We see what this is, a power grab. Virginians won't be fooled. Show up, vote, take back our power. It's a temporary measure that gives the people, not politicians, the final say. Vote yes by April 21st.
My name is Bill Duke, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
There were these negotiations over the weekend with Iran, and that was being led by Vice President J.D. Vance. Now, while he was negotiating, Donald Trump was over here at a UFC fight in Miami. And guess what? Those negotiations have broken down. It was pretty much a waste of time even sending J.D. Vance over there. Now you have Donald Trump, the United States, calling for a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, which continues to cause significant problems with oil in this country, also getting products out. And it goes to show you, but we'll go to my panel here, and I want to bring in Omekongo. So I thought that was a ceasefire. I thought these things were fine. I hope all these idiots now realize that they got played. They got played. Hello, they got played, Omekongo.
They absolutely did. And I have to start off by saying that this has been a 3-day losing streak for J.D. Vance. First, he got his new religion, Catholicism, attacked by Trump on Pope Francis, and he can't say on Pope Leo, and he can't say anything. He went to campaign for Orban, and he lost. And now we have the situation with Iran, where he looks like another failure. But this is what the Trump administration has been doing all along. They said that it was about regime change. They said it was about we went in there to protect Israel. Every single day they're throwing something at the wall to see what sticks. And quite honestly, Roland, they literally thought this was going to be as easy as Venezuela. They thought this was going to last maybe 2 or 3 days, that there would be no casualties, and then they could move on to Cuba. They could not, they did not pay any attention to the generals and the other experts. Well, I don't know how many experts they have around them, but they definitely have military generals who told them that the strait was going to be closed. That was going to be the first thing that happens. They told them all of this. And he goes out there and says, nobody told me that this would happen. I mean, are you serious? This is an abject failure. And every single day they have to figure out something new. And you saw China, they were like, blockade. Well, we expect our boats to go through. So what are you talking about there? And so the international community has turned against him. He has no allies. The ceasefire was false from the beginning. bombing. Iran said it's supposed to include Lebanon. Israel said it's not. We're going to keep bombing. This man is being led by Netanyahu, and he and Hegseth do not have a plan outside of bombing things. At the end of the day, Roland, the problem is that we have an incredible military who will execute masterfully, but we have fools who are their leaders. And that's why we continue to get into the situation, but it's only going to get worse as the economy of the United States continues to tank, evident by gas prices that are going up by the day.
These idiots, Thelma, really have no idea what they're doing. They don't know how to get out of this mess. They don't know what to do. And they look stupid. And even their own side are going, fool, you promised we were not going to have any new wars. Well, we keep saying, we told y'all we're idiots. We told you not to believe that fool.
Yeah, we told them, and especially a Black woman told them every chance that she could get, but they didn't think she was qualified to run this country. But even more so, let's dig into the reality of why we are in this freaking war. This party is not only playing in America's face, they're playing in America's face on a world stage. This war should have never happened, but for the Republican Party, the MAGA Party, wanting to enrich themselves. They are manipulating the stock market in order for them to enrich themselves while it's affecting not only America, but innocent countries that have nothing to do with the predators who are in the administration. Y'all came in to protect yourselves from predatory behavior of little kids and women. Then y'all want to say, oh, let's start this war so that we can manipulate and enrich ourselves, because we know when we get out of here, we're going to probably get locked up. So we got to make sure our family eat at the end of the day, because they coming for our neck. When we didn't need to come for y'all neck when y'all leave, because y'all should have been doing the right thing from the beginning. Y'all thought Iran was going to let y'all come over there and play in their face, and they playing in y'all face on the world fucking stage.
Well, they are learning a real hard lesson, Renita, that if you start shit, you gotta finish it.
Right. And the problem is they have no way to finish it, because they are still going off of this old American arrogance of confidence of thinking that America sets the rules and everybody else just has to do whatever America wants. And those were the old rules. That is not true in 2026, has not been true for a long time. This is such a serious issue. So where most people are kind of sort of paying attention to this as they see gas prices increase, what a lot of folks don't understand is that our economy is literally hanging in the balance. The whole deal with this war of choice against Iran, Iran's goal is to bring down the petrodollar system. And so for those who don't know, the petrodollar system is basically is based on an agreement that says for the countries that produce the most oil, think Saudi Arabia, Qatar, these countries that are right there in that area along the strait, that they will only sell oil in the American dollar. So the only way you can purchase oil is through the American dollar. What Iran wants, along with China and other countries, is to take down the US dollar and make it so that oil will be sold in things other than the US dollar, like the Chinese yuan. So that is what their goal is. And that's so problematic for us, because this is what our entire economy is based on. So to me, I just can't believe that Trump and Marco Rubio are sitting at UFC fights when we have got this very serious issue going on, and they are just acting as if nothing happened. Because I'm old enough to remember when Barack Obama got hassled by the right because he wore a tan suit in the office. Meanwhile, Trump is not even paying attention to what is happening. He has gotten us in a war that he can't get out of. And mark my words, what you will see is, and he's already done this once, he is going to attempt to try to walk away from this war again and claim victory, even though we can all see that we don't have any victory. And that's what he's going to do. He's going to try to just walk away again. But the first time he tried to do it, Israel would not go along with it, and they continued to bomb Lebanon, which is why the ceasefire never really was enforced. So this is just something that's going to be never ending, and he needs to realize that he cannot call for the end of this war. Iran can continue to bomb and bomb and bomb, and things are not just, hey, whatever America says goes. Those are the old rules, and they have not been in effect in a long time.
But the thing that gets me is, the man was literally thinking, oh, this is going to be the same as Venezuela. That's how dumb he is. Ome Congo, he really thought, oh, yeah, we could take them out. Just let's say what we did, homeboy in Venezuela. No.
It is absolutely ridiculous. And he was literally saying, he was putting on social media, and Cuba's next. Like, it was just going to be a regular thing. And I was listening to a Hillary Clinton interview this morning, and she was saying, like, Israel tried to sell like every president on what they can do in attack in Iran, and they thought it was going to be a great thing. And they said that when the New York Times report last week that came out with Maggie Haberman said that when Netanyahu came to the White House, he was in the Situation Room at the head of the table, telling them why this would be such a great thing. And Donald Trump was like, oh yeah, let's go. This man is sick with military power. He saw what happened in Venezuela, and he just, what were we told, Roland? He's given a iPad like a kid in a restaurant of like the big explosions from the day before. Like that's what he gets off on. And so he's going to test military might everywhere across the world. He has already committed war crimes. The fact of the matter is, when you threaten to exterminate an entire civilization, you don't actually have to execute it. Just the threat alone is a war crime. Look at the Venezuela boats. So this man has committed war crime after war crime. He's going to do more. He's going to get more erratic. He's going to do more tweets and posts. I mean, he posted like, what, 20-some times between like 9 p.m. and 4 a.m. or something. And he is going to waste more United States lives. More people in Iran and Lebanon are going to be killed because of this. And it's not just gas that's going to be affected in our country, fertilizer, helium, things that are used for MRIs. He is destroying this economy because of his ignorance and because of his arrogance. And we have to add Hegseth in there as well. And so really at the end of the day, he is drunk with power. And we have already lost 13 soldiers. Thousands of people have died over in Iran and Lebanon already, and other countries. It's only going to get worse until this man is stopped.
And to Renita's point right there, China said, yo, we ain't got nothing to do. So the Strait of Hormuz, we got goods coming out of there. So y'all a blockade, don't do that. And again, now you're seeing the stupidity of Donald Trump when he doesn't realize that this is a globe. This is about the globe. This is the rest of the world. You just can't do whatever the hell you want to do to a country, and then you get to control it. No. China, India, Pakistan, Russia, UK, France, on and on and on. Other countries have relationships with countries that we don't like. And just like we do things in our economic interests, so do they. So the idiot is learning that you can't do whatever you want. And so for all you dumb maggots who voted for him, y'all also now realize he wasn't that great of a businessman, and he's showing his level of stupidity. All right, going to a quick break. We come back. We'll talk to Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott, newly elected leader of the African American Mayors Association. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered, the Black Star Network. Support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. If you want to support our work, please do so by contributing via Cash App. Here's a Stripe QR code. Use that to play for Cash App. We'll see it right here. That's for credit cards as well. Checks and money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003 7-0196. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo's RM Unfiltered. Zelle Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
MAGA Republicans ended diversity programs, cut funding for Black students, and fired federal employees. And they won't stop there. Now, they've redrawn congressional maps so that they can rig the November elections. But we have the power to stop them. By voting yes for fair elections, we have the final say on who represents us in Congress. This is a temporary measure to restore fairness. They are not backing down, and neither can we. Make a plan to vote by April 21st and vote yes for fair elections.
I'm Ryan Wilson, CEO and co-founder of The Gathering Spot, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
We're seeing the Donald Trump administration attack cities all across the country, attack blue cities, attack black-led cities. African-American mayors this weekend met in D.C., elected a new leader of their organization, Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott, who joins us right now. Mayor Scott, glad to have you here. What are your plans leading the AAMA? Obviously, it represents the nation's black mayors. And listen, the reality is black mayors are under attack. This administration cannot stand cities being led by African Americans. We're talking Baltimore, Chicago, Los Angeles, Memphis, Birmingham, and on and on and on.
Yeah, listen, Roland, always great to be with you, Uncle Roland. But I think for me, first and foremost, I am honored, deeply honored, to represent the more than 500 black mayors across the country as the president of AMA. I want to give all love and homage to my predecessor, Mayor Van Johnson from Savannah, Georgia, for leading us over this very tough year that we just had, as you just said. But listen, the truth is, when you look around the country now, we always say, to be alive at such a time as this, I would not have any other way that I assume this presidency at this time, because AMA has an important role to play right now. All of us are dealing with the insanity from the federal government that you talked about, from the cuts and the threats that come consistently. And of course, as black people with black cultures, black institutions, they are all under attack. We are under attack. But despite all of that insanity, when you look for progress across this country, they've seen it at the local level, and if we're being honest, you're seeing that with black mayors leading that. When people talk about this reduction in violent crime that we've seen over the country over this past few years, that's been led by black mayors. Let's be honest. And you can see that happening in public safety, in housing, in transportation, in food insecurity, and so much more. It's my responsibility as the president of AMA to not just support my brother and sister mayors, but to uplift their work, to make sure that folks know that there are, when you talk about this country and moving forward and what we should do, there will be no conversation without black mayors, because we're the ones on the ground doing the work. And we're going to be making sure that we're sharing best practices across the city to work with each other, to help each other be better, so that our constituents and our people can be better. And this is the time for someone like me to be in the seat. And I'm so truly humble and honored to have it.
How, as you were talking, I was thinking about how other nations are bypassing the United States and creating alliances among themselves. How have you and the other black mayors been doing the exact same thing in terms of working with one another, goods and services, partnering? I'm just thinking about you clearly are getting, we see how, I keep saying that the effort to defund Black America with this MAGA agenda. And so how are y'all helping one another, whether it's economics, whether it's business, whether it's social programs, things like that?
Listen, we talk to each other consistently all the time. And it's about sharing those best practices, Roland. It's about making sure that things that are successful, that we're sharing with our sister and brother mayors, whether that be public safety actions that we've all taken. If you look at the public safety plans that we have in all these cities, whether it's Baltimore, Birmingham, Oakland, Chicago, we're all doing similar things because we talk to each other. When you look at the work that's happening around housing and economic development, we talk to each other. When you look at how we're dealing and responding with the insanity from the federal government, we are all singing from the same sheet of music, because we know how important it is to support each other. Being a mayor is hard. Being a black mayor is extremely hard. And for our sister mayors, being a black woman who's a mayor is the hardest job in American politics. And we have to support each other, especially at a time like this, but in any time, to make sure. Because for me, I was always raised to say that you are only as successful as the team. If everyone on the team is successful, you have not reached your full potential. And that's why I'm always there to support my brother and sister mayors, even if it's just helping folks who are dealing with a tough decision, helping folks when they've got to make an important hire, helping folks when they need advice, when you have emergency situations. And many of us that have been through it, and this might be this mayor's first time dealing with a severe tragedy, we have to support each other. And we do that each and every day. And we do that through the organization, whether it be tabletops, all those kind of trainings, people visiting other cities. We have to continue to do that. And we must expand upon that right now.
Questions from my panel. Thelma, you first.
Good evening, Mayor Scott. First and foremost, I want to say congratulations. I've been following your progress and success in your city, and from a Black woman, I appreciate your leadership, especially at a time like this. One question that I had for you, because I'm from Louisiana, and I got some heat from my state because I called them out for the first time in over 20 years. Louisiana's major cities does not have an African American mayor as we are accustomed to. What motivated you at this time to take on this role, especially when you have a lot of responsibilities in your own city that, of course, is thriving, but we know what it comes with when you take on these kind of roles?
Yeah, for me, I was placed on the ALMA board by a mayor and former Congressman Sylvester Turner after I came into office. And I am someone, and Roland knows this, who always thinks about those that came before me and the responsibility that they put me in and the things that they expected from me. So I could never shy away, but especially in this moment, we need someone who's able to say many of the things that some of my brother and sister mayors in the South they might not be able to do, right? And I think that when you think about us pushing and thinking about my sister mayor, forever sister mayor, Mayor Cantrell from New Orleans, we have to be able to push back. I am not scared at all, whether it's from this administration, whether it's from the threats and all the things that we get. Listen, the truth is, people died for me to be able to sit in this chair. Mm. Who am I to shake away and try to hide when things get tough? When things get tough, when the stakes are at its highest, when there's 2 seconds on the clock, that's when I want to be in the game, because it's not just about me. It's about my city. It's about my people. And that's why I took this job, because it's my time to make sure that we're taking this organization to the next level and raising the conscience of folks that need to understand what Black mayors are doing across this country each and every day.
Omekongo.
Congrats, Mayor Scott. We're really proud of everything that you're doing. As a business owner in Baltimore, I hope to see you in Fells Point when we have our grand opening of our yoga studio. But I want to ask you about something that Roland was talking about last week and talks about it often online. And he was talking about how so many of these conservative media outlets are directly targeting Black mayors and Black governors across the country, and how you've been dealing with it directly in Baltimore as well. Can you speak to how you and other mayors that you are in contact with are dealing with this now conservative leaning media environment that we're in?
Yeah, and you're here, so you know, right? Sinclair Broadcasting is located outside of Baltimore. I'm now in year 6 of them doing the things they've done, not just to me, but to our city. And I think people have to understand that, right? I say this all the time. It's not personal between Brandon Scott and the Baltimore Sun and Sinclair Broadcasting and Fox 45. It's about what I represent. And the way that, for me, the way that we've been attacking is that we go and do our work, and we also fight them when we need to fight them, right? When you think about the reality is that I won an election in 2020. They didn't think I would win. They had no expectation that I would win. And then once I won, what did they do? They went out and started to change the rules. We never had term limits in Baltimore City, ever, until I won, right? We never had media outlets and their owners going out and buying a whole newspaper and stopping that newspaper from doing political endorsements. We know what this is. This is a coordinated attack. Listen, when the man himself said they're here to carry Trump's message, we have to understand that that's going to show up in everything that they do. And we have to educate our residents, and in particular, older Black folks, who are some of the folks that are watching and taking in those things. Because when you see these attacks, and you're seeing it happen here in Baltimore, city in crisis, in St. Louis City, all of these things, it's a coordinated attack on Black political power, Black culture, Black structures. They're going after the Reginald F. Lewis Museum here in Baltimore. And people, and our people in particular, need to understand this. These folks only go after people who do not kowtow to them, who will not do everything that they say do, who will not, does not believe the things they believe, and will not do everything. And I don't mean some things, everything that they say to do. They don't come after you like that if you're not a threat to them and the way that they want to control and have power. And that's when you look at like myself, all of my brother and sister mayors, my governor, we represent a new wave of folks who are here that will do what's right no matter who is mad about it. If it's our people mad, fine. If it's them mad, fine. If it's rich people with money who think that they should control everything in a particular jurisdiction, city, state, country, whatever, we will tell them no as well. But we have to really educate our people in understanding what they're trying to do here. Here in Baltimore, they've done so much, as you know, even trying to shrink the city council. And people have to think about why that is. It's not about having, quote unquote, better representation. It's about less people on the council means it's easier to control them, and more likely that you will get folks that don't look like you and I, more of them representing folks in Baltimore, a city that's 60% black. This stuff is very intentional, and we have to wake up and understand that this is connected to what's happening at the national level. So when you have a young black mayor, a black woman mayor, someone in this seat, and they consistently see these attacks that are coming, but they're only coming this way from a particular outlet, that is for a reason, and we have a duty to fight back on that, because Malcolm X said it best. You keep telling a lie over and over and over again, it'll become the truth.
Mm-hmm. Renita?
Yes, thank you so much, Mayor Scott, for the work that you've done. Congratulations on your new position. I also have been following your work, you along with Mayor Brandon Johnson out of Chicago, because you two are one of the few mayors who are insistent on not just endless funding for policing, but for putting money towards community resources that actually work to reduce crime. My question is, do you have any plans to set up some sort of informal network for Black mayors? And the reason why I ask this is because I served in the Georgia House of Representatives, so I served on the state level, never served on the local level. But I did see a stark difference in, not to say that this doesn't happen at the state level, because I certainly face challenges with this, but it's exactly what you're saying. If you want to see what hypercriticism and words like corrupt and calling politicians corrupt, just over a simple disagreement over where sidewalks should go, look at local government. Local government has some of the hottest heat as it relates to, for Black elected officials, where people are quick to call a person corrupt, quick to try to take down a person through the media just because they don't agree with a decision that you made about just over a simple disagreement. So do you have any plans to set up anything informal that would just be a support network for Black mayors to really lean on each other and be connected?
I'm a talking code. I can neither confirm or deny that that kind of thing already exists. Like I said earlier, we always support each other, and we're going to continue to do that. And I think, to your point, though, folks have to also answer the last question, understand that many of the times they send people that look like us to do the work, right? We have to understand that there have been a Stephen from Django's around for a long, long time. And now they're getting worse because they feel like they can be validated by these folks. So we have to be very wary of those kind of people. But we're always going to support our brother and sister mayors in whatever way that they need, including fighting back on stuff like that.
Great. Thank you so much for your work.
Mayor Scott, Mayor Scott, I do want to pick up on what Ome Congo asked you about. And we did talk about that story, that how David Smith, Sinclair, the Fox affiliate, and now the Baltimore Sun are specifically attacking Black elected officials, constantly coming after you, now coming after Governor Westmore. They tried the referendum, all of these particular things. And it's abundantly clear they do not like Black leadership. They don't want Black folks in control. You got this right-wing guy who's always attacking Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, and he responds and he gives him the smoke right back. What advice do you have for Black leadership where they understand that being silent and accepting beatdowns does nothing for you, that you have to fight fire with fire?
Yeah, I tell them all the time. I said, there is no hiding from these folks. They are going to come after you regardless. So stand up and be who you are destined to be. There is nothing that you're going to do accept, kowtow, and give in to them and say, yes, master, I'll do whatever you say, that's going to make them happy. You have to fight back, and you have to fight back, and making sure also, Roland, that you don't give them anything legitimate, right? When you think about, I'll give you a perfect example, right? And this is no disrespect to this individual, but there is a non-African American Maryland state senator that is under federal indictment right now. And they have done more stories about me, my police unit getting a new vehicle than they have done about that. That tells you everything that you need to know, because we know if that was another person, there will be a whole different story. We have to fight back on these folks and people will say like, oh, well, they're going to come after me. Oh, I don't want to make this person mad or that person mad. What I tell them all the time is that leadership is not about being liked. Leadership is about doing what is right for your people. We have to have leaders that are willing to do the unpopular thing, even when it's bad for them politically. We have to have leaders that are willing to fight, even if that is going to come with all of that smoke, because that smoke is going to come anyway, unless you give in to these people. And now is the time for us to rise up, because we've seen what happens when people don't fight. We've seen what happens when people just get apathetic. We've seen that. We see it every single day with the insanity coming out of the White House. We cannot allow that to happen at the local level, because that's what they're doing. You raise up a great point, right? They changed term limits in Baltimore during the last state election. We're not on the state cycle, right? We're on the presidential cycle. But he put that on the ballot during the state election just for the city of Baltimore. And we have to understand the power that they have, where you can have someone who can literally force his reporters to do these stories every day for years and then pay for it to go on the ballot. And the power of media. And if you're silent and not fighting that, then you will just be complacent in the degradation of your people, in my opinion.
Well, I just think that what people need to understand is that, to your point, it is going to happen. They are going to go after folks, and they must learn how to fight back. And the last point, and I know you do this here, what I also keep saying to black mayors is they have to be even more aggressive in talking to black radio, black newspapers, black digital outlets, providing them access and information to counter what's happening in white mainstream media. That has to happen. And I can tell you, as somebody, it's a lot of times, to be honest, it's difficult. It's very difficult. And if one thing that I would suggest, you being leading, and again, and I'm going to go ahead and say this, and I'm being straight up. We had a broadcast at Virginia State on Thursday, Norfolk State on Friday, dealing with the redistricting referendum, and somebody sent me a text, and they said, "Hey, you just got a shout out here," and this is what I said. I said, I didn't even realize the mayors were meeting. Literally, no one from AAMA reached out, hit me up to say, hey, we're coming. We've covered them in the past. And what I keep saying to black mayors, you've got to be taking advantage of black media infrastructure to tell your story.
Yeah, well, you won't have that problem this year because I was just telling someone this yesterday. I was at the African American History Museum in D.C., and I told them, look, I have a standing monthly interview with the Afro where all of their reporters can just ask me anything that they want, right? I go on 92Q every single month with my brother Quicksilver. Even if I can't get in the studio, I call in there because we have to. I go on Black podcasts, places that most people won't even think about going, because if we don't support our own media outlets who will do their job and hold us accountable, but that will tell the stories the truthful way and cover and talk about the things that matter to our people, then who will? And we have to be, and Roland, we have to push other folks to support that too and help lift you all up, right? Because there's a lot of black folk with money, I think, that could be pushing more people towards the Afros, the Baltimore Times, the Roland Martins of the world, because we have to understand that if we are not allowing our stories to be told by our people and held accountable by our people, then we're just going to be open to many of the things that you and I have been talking about even more, right? We should be talking to our folks because we know that at the end of the day, they're going to be fair, and also tell the stories in the way that our people get it.
Indeed. And so, listen, you already know this. Listen, you can come on the show anytime. I've said to the last 7 Congressional Black Caucus chairs, we have a standing invite. We'll have a CBC member on every single day. They just have to be willing to come on. And so please let Black mayors know that, listen, they should come on here. One in particular, we've been trying to get him on for the longest, Memphis Mayor Paul Young. You need to understand, we ain't mad at him. But, brother, come talk to us because so many other folks do. Our Black elected officials need to use a Black media system, and that's just critically important. So congratulations on the new opportunity. Look forward to chatting with you soon.
And I'm on it. Thank you.
All right. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. I'm going to go back to our panel on this, Renita, Thelma, and Ome Congo. And I can't, Ome Congo, I can't tell you how many times as I travel this country and I tell Black state legislators, Black mayors, Black county commissioners, Black officials, I'm like, y'all got to talk. It can't be a situation when we call, oh, I'm not available for the next 5 weeks. Huh? What we doing?
Wow.
But when folk get in trouble, it's amazing how many know our phone numbers and our emails. And that's the thing that drives me crazy when this stuff goes down. I know I have seen it with my own eyes. They will kill themselves to go do CNN and MS Now and ABC and CBS and NBC and Fox and treat Black media like it's an afterthought.
Yeah, and I've been on this panel a couple of times when some of these guys called in, once they got in trouble. It's really unfortunate because the fact of the matter is people used to talk about mainstream media having a liberal bias. The fact that mainstream media now is conservative / Republican / MAGA leaning, everything from CBS to what's about to happen to CNN to the social medias with TikTok and Instagram and everything. So the spaces where they felt the most welcome, they are shrinking. And they thought they were welcome, right? Until they get on there and realize they're getting played. And so when you have Black media outlets like this, Black Star Network is more important now than it ever has been, and it has always been important. So where are you going to control the narrative? One of the things that Mayor Scott said was that some of the other mayors, he said something to the effect of, maybe afraid or not as outspoken as he is, and that's real. So if that's the case, why not come to a network where at the end of the day, whether you like what's being said about you, you're going to be treated fairly. There's not going to be an alternative agenda. It's about what's going to affect the Black community. And if you're not really coming on programs like this and networks like this, that really says a lot about you and your agenda. And so if you know that all of these other outlets are not really going to be booking you unless they're trying to set you up with some type of hit piece, now it's disgusting that people didn't tell you that they were meeting. Now is the time to start building this political and media network in an era where so many Black media outlets and even those deemed as quote unquote liberal outlets are shrinking. Y'all need to come home.
Renita, the thing for me is, again, sort of how I look at the landscape. And I understand credibility and how we perceive these things. And the reality is, when you have a show and you're able to book mayors, to book governors, to book House members, Senate members, all of a sudden, people look at your outlet a lot different. I have presented to the National Conference of Mayors. I presented to the African American Mayors Association. I've talked to numerous groups to get them to understand what outreach looks like. And outreach doesn't mean that it's going to be fluff, easy questions, and everybody agrees with you. So, on McConaughey's point, if you have an opportunity to come on this show, and we just had the mayor on for 20 minutes, he's not going to get 20 minutes on Fox News. He's not going to get 20 minutes on MS Now. He's not. And so we have the ability to have a different level of conversation. And there's nothing more disappointing to me. There's nothing more disappointing to me than when we call and we put the word out, Renita, to numerous, it'll be like, yo, we'll take any CBC member to come on the show on given they talk about something. No takers. Now, there are a number of folks who, there's a consistent 10 to 12 that come on this show on a regular basis. But I can tell you right now, there are some CBC members I have never met, have never talked to. And I'm like, what are y'all doing? But I guarantee you, if MS Now called them, I guarantee you they staff will break their necks to book them.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you a few things. Number one, the folks who refuse to come on are the same ones who, when they are in office, are very afraid to stand with blackness. So they're not fighting for black folks because they can't even do a simple thing like come on your show. The other thing is that not only does your show provide more time for a black elected official to be heard than what they would get with white media, you also get to talk about more topics in a very real way on your show that you don't get to with MSNBC and some of the national networks. I can tell you from firsthand experience. I remember during the first Trump administration, I think it was like 2018. So he had been in office for 2 years. And I went on the Newsy Network and they asked me, we were having voter suppression bills in Georgia, and they asked me what this was all about because Georgia was the center of a lot of voter suppression bills. And they were asking me questions about why I thought this was happening. And I said that the president was the white supremacist in chief. And the guy stopped me immediately and was like, whoa, 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 you could be offending people. And, that's a heavy charge. And I said, yeah, it's a charge and I can defend it. Let me tell you what the facts are around the situation. So the point I'm making is that not only are you able to get more time on Roland Martin's show to really talk about what you are doing, but you also are able to have more real conversations that don't fly, I would say, necessarily in white-centered media. Now, Omekongo talked about how now the mainstream media that's supposed to be liberal is becoming more conservative. But I would say from my experience, even in times before it was outwardly more conservative, you still had the case that it was mostly white-centered and there were just things that they really did not want you to say because it was like the situation of a hit dog will holler. And so if they felt like they had some things going on with racism, they really don't want you talking about racism as much. I will say this, it shocks me that there are CBC members who can consistently get invitations from you and would not come on the show. You were very welcoming to me. I was still in office and you sent me a message. I believe it was called Twitter at the time. And you said, hey, I saw this speech you made. You were joking them Republicans. Will you come on the show? And I said, absolutely. Why wouldn't I? So if you are doing that sort of outreach like you did with me, which is the same way the MSNBC outreaches, they don't call people up. They send an email to say, hey, will you come on? I can't imagine why they would deprioritize, appearing, except for the fact that they don't want to be too closely affiliated with blackness and doing anything intentionally for black folks, which means that when they are in their legislative positions and in their electoral positions, they also are taking that same stance, not going to fight very well for us. So they're doing themselves a disservice is what I'll say.
And again, y'all, I need people to understand, we can book guests. This ain't an issue where I'm trying to beg somebody to come on. What I am saying, Thelma, is that if you are a black elected official and you are trying to inform the community about what you're doing, well, then your staff should have a list of national outlets, state outlets, and local outlets where you're driving your message. I know that's what I would do. I know. And here's the crazy thing. I've literally said, if you're a CBC member, I don't care what you talk about. If you say I got a bill or I got this or I'm working on this, fine. Come on, talk about it. So I ain't putting restrictions on it. But the thing is, you got to make yourself available. And so when I start now looking at these other digital shows and podcasts in the Black-owned media space, and again, there's Black-owned media and there's Black-targeted media. Let's be real clear. Again, if you're complaining about, well, Fox is doing this, Fox is doing that, they doing this here. Okay, well then you should now be communicating in a different way. That's all I'm saying. And a lot of these folk, they aren't doing that, and they'll complain, well, we don't get this here, we don't get this here, and we don't get coverage, and we don't nobody talk, and nobody knows what we're doing. Well, nobody can know what you're doing if you ain't never talking to people. That's how this thing works. People know what you do when you talk about what you do. They not just gonna know just because.
And the thing that bothers me about individuals in that capacity is, don't call me when you need something. Show up when you don't need something, because that's going to show your willingness to step up to the plate and not be afraid to have those conversations in front of your people, and not to use the access that you have, but you want to have access to the proximity who is going to disrespect you instead of respect you. That to me is one of the most ignorant things that I see with individuals, especially not only just in politics, but in powerful positions. You would rather go and will and deal with individuals that don't remember your name at the end of the day, instead of go on a platform that is going to give you access to individuals that want to hear from you and then show up and support you. You want us to show up and support you, but you don't show up to platforms that support you. That makes absolutely no sense to me. And then on the back end, you want us to show up and clear your name when they have brought you onto their platforms, disrespected you, made you look like a clown, and then you're thinking like, dang, and you still go back for the abuse. That I have no idea what is in the waters these days, but right now is the best time for individuals in that space to capitalize on Black media, because we are in times now where our voices are being shrink to where they want it to be non-existent, but for Black media. And that just shows me a weakness and a fear. And I don't want nobody leading me who have that kind of thought process, because I know what you're going to do behind closed doors.
Bottom line is, folk need to understand you have to have a plan of action. That's what you must do. And utilizing Black media is critically important. Let me thank my panel. We had some tech issues at the top of the show. One of the reasons why we are late. I'm heading over to the closing concert for Hootie and the Blowfish, their 30th annual Monday after the Masters golf tournament. They've raised almost $8 million for various charities all across this state in the 30 years they've had this golf tournament. So first of all, let me thank Thelma Omekongo and Renita for being on today's panel. Thank you so very much. Last night, we had the pairings party as well as the auction, and my man Javier Colon got a chance to perform. Everybody's there. He's also performing tonight, and they actually ended up selling. So guys, do me a favor, do the second clip, please. Not the first, do the second clip. If y'all have it ready, I'll tell you how long that clip is. It's a 4-minute, 11-second clip. So y'all have that one. So Javier Colon, who was, so which one we have? We have the first one? Do we have the first one ready? Okay. Okay. Do we have, okay, fine. All right. So Javier Colon, of course, was a winner of The Voice. Javier, last night, they auctioned off 2 1-hour concerts that he would do for anyone. It could be in their home, maybe at a party or whatever the heck. Raised $50,000 for the Hootie and the Blowfish Money After the Masters Foundation. And so I want to just share a little bit with y'all. So here's my man Javier performing last night.
it was really fun. I'm excited. I've got a new single out of that song that I sang that you all know very well. I'm gonna do it tomorrow for you. But tonight, just to get us started, my wife actually gave me the idea to sing this song. I haven't done this one for you guys in the 20 years that I've been coming here, and I figured I might do it. We're gonna see how quiet we can get you. If we can get you quiet to do this one. This is one of my favorites. So when I sang this song, I sang this song with the incredible Stevie Nicks on the show. It was the final song that I sang on the Voice. Let me see once we get our guitar going. You get that? All right, here we go. You guys are gonna know this one. So I'll sing this for you all. Anywhere, if you get this off tonight, I'll sing it for you. Not in your bedroom, but anywhere else, I'll sing it for you. It's my love and it's taking time. Climbed the mountain and I turned around, and I saw my reflection. So
folks, again, 50 grand was raised last night, and more than actually $250,000 or so was raised just last night. So great time today in today's golf tournament. So I'm about to head over to the Hootie and the Blowfish and the Friends. It's a surprise guest. I met him last night. So I'm going to have a little bit more for y'all when we get back. Let me thank everybody for watching today's show. I certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Hey, don't forget, support the work that we do by joining our Bring the Funk fan club. Your support is critical to our success. The goal is to get 20,000 people contributing on average $50 each a year. That's $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. If you want to contribute to us via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. Use that, the Stripe QR code. That's also for credit cards. Checks and money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003 7-0196. PayPal, R. Martin Unfiltered. Venmo, RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Of course, download the Black Star Network app. Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Samsung Smart TV. Get our Roland Martin Unfiltered Black Star Network swag. All you got to do is go to shopblackstarnetwork.com for our t-shirts, hats, hoodies, all that good stuff. Also, support the black-owned businesses we have at shopblackstarnetwork.com. Your support is critical as well for that. Don't forget, check out The Breakdown with Brittany Noble every single day. In fact, guys, let me do this here. I should do this here. When I finish this here, then y'all do the headlines. Don't forget to check out The Breakdown with Brittany Noble every day, noon Eastern, right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. And don't forget, redistricting in Virginia. Vote yes. Early voting is right now. And, of course, the election is April 21st. I'm going to close the show out. I'm going to say bye. I got to go. But we're going to close the show out with headlines from Brittany Noble. Thanks a bunch. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Holla! Roll the headlines.
A birthday trip to Zanzibar has turned into a deadly mystery for the family of an American influencer named Ashley Robinson. Robinson was on the trip for her 31st birthday when she was found unconscious at a luxury villa and later died at a hospital. Her fiancé, a white man, reportedly told authorities that Robinson died by suicide, but at least one close friend is questioning the story. It's gained widespread attention online, with many pointing to Robinson's recent posts showing her celebrating and appearing happy just days before her death. A fast food shift turned deadly after a worker at a Steak and Shake in St. Louis was shot and killed during a drive-through argument all over onion rings. 32-year-old Shantia Lachelle Meekins and a male co-worker were both shot by an unknown driver while working the drive-through on Wednesday. Meekins was pronounced dead there at the scene. The male co-worker, who has yet to be named publicly, was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive, while the shooter is still at large. A man wrongfully imprisoned for nearly 30 years before being exonerated won a landmark election in New Orleans. But now the GOP-controlled legislator are racing to eliminate his job before he can be sworn in. Calvin Duncan won 68% of the vote last November to become the Orleans Parish Clerk of Criminal Court, running on a platform that promised reforms to the judicial system. But earlier this month, Louisiana Senate Republicans voted to scrap Duncan's new job as part of a broader GOP effort to streamline the judiciary in New Orleans, a Democratic hub with a predominantly Black electorate. Duncan says he believes he's being retaliated against by Louisiana officials who have long denied that he is actually innocent. A Black 17-year-old girl is suing San Bernardino, California police after a disturbing incident that occurred just days before her high school graduation. Video shows 90-pound Erin Kauser being grabbed by her backpack and flipped on her face by Officer Jackson Tubbs during an altercation outside of a local grocery store. She was reportedly walking across a parking lot to talk to a friend when the officer grabbed her from behind. And according to a lawsuit filed earlier this month, Officer Tubbs rushed up behind her, seized her backpack, pinned her arms, and performed a hip toss, then sent her airborne before she landed face first on the ground, all while being partially handcuffed. The lawsuit states that she suffered a traumatic brain injury with memory loss, a deep facial laceration requiring stitches, a dislocated wrist, and back injuries. Happening today, officials in Memphis are announcing a major investment tied to the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. Mason Temple, where King delivered his final "I've Been to the Mountaintop" speech, is set to receive $1.2 million in federal grant money for long-term upgrades and technology improvements. The funding is part of a broader package totaling nearly $18 million for projects across the city. It includes more than $3 million to restore Claiborne Temple, an important gathering place during the 1968 sanitation workers' strike that brought King to Memphis. Both churches are located near the former Lorraine Motel. That's where Dr. King was assassinated in 1968. Victor Glover is back on Earth after becoming the first Black astronaut to travel to lunar orbit, circling the moon, and returning back home. The Artemis 2 mission splashed down safely in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of San Diego with all 4 astronauts in good health. The Orion spacecraft traveled more than 694,000 miles during the mission, reaching roughly 230,000 miles from Earth, further than any human has ever gone in more than 50 years. The journey lasted just over 9 days, officially recorded as a 10-day mission, marking NASA's first crewed trip around the moon since the Apollo era. For Glover, the milestone builds on a legacy of Black astronauts who broke barriers before him, including Guyan Bluford, Frederick D. Gregory, and Mae Jemison. Glover said, while this moment is part of human history, he understands the power of visibility and what it means for the next generation to see themselves reflected in space exploration.